Hi everyone, my name's Ethan Barclay-Anu and I'm the owner of Get Flocked Knitting in Christchurch, New Zealand. I am on vacation right now and taking a little break, but I'm bringing you these 4 pre-recorded episodes that all share something a little bit different about my knitting or about what's been going on at the shop or some other great things that I've encountered in knitting that we might not even have at the shop. So I'm going to share a little bit about what's been going on with my knitting journey and other things in knitting with you each week. A tour of some of my favorite things that I've been working with lately, a few of the days, and often some information about how projects have helped shape the way that I view my knitting today. If you like any of these videos and you're looking for something more in-depth in your knitting diet, please do consider joining the Flock online. It is undergoing a renaissance as I shift into a new framework for it that is making a focused decision to ensure that we are making the process of making the center of the attention. So with all of that said, thank you so much for joining me on the channel. I do hope that you will like and subscribe. Please tell your friends about Get Flocked, even if they don't knit. Some people might find it entertaining. I will be back with my regularly scheduled Christine after this vacation hiatus, and I cannot wait to see what she has made. Thank you all of you again for watching, and I will see you when I'm back. Hi everybody, welcome to our final podcast while I am away. I hope you've enjoyed the previous episodes, and I can say I had a different thing planned that, despite my best efforts, I couldn't quite get filmed due to my reaction while attempting to do it, which isn't a good or a bad thing, it just is. I hope you've had a good time, and I will be back in the next couple of weeks with some more live shows and some amazing co-hosts, so please stay tuned for that. I hope all of you have had a wonderful time while I'm away and that your knitting has gone fantastically. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about a preview of some of the yarns I'm planning on working with coming up in case you want to get in contact with us about them now. While I have been away, winter has started to give way towards spring, and with that in mind, I have a selection of, you may not believe it, what I conceive of as spring and summer yarns to show you. From ones I'm really familiar with to ones that I'm excited to work with, and I'll explain what I'm going to be doing with. So let's start with one that I'm already familiar with because I've knit with its big brother, and then we'll do one more and take a little break. So this is Candid by the amazing team at Rerum Natura. This is one of their 2 yarns that contains cotton that we plan to bring in over time. This is a sport weight semi-woolen spun yarn that is a blend of merino and cotton and some recycled fiber. So it is 70% wool, 28% recycled cotton, and 2% other recycled fibers. This is a beautiful product in the DK weight form, and I am really excited to use this 2-ply construction sport weight yarn as well. I intend to knit this on a 3.75 millimeter needle. I believe that they say 2.5 to 3 millimeters, so I will have to swatch because that's not what I initially intended, as I was planning on making a light and lofty oversized drop shoulder pullover in this, and I still think it'll be great at that gauge and yarn, and I can't wait to show you what that looks like. This is going to be intended as kind of an early morning or in the evening / springtime daytime jumper. So it's going to be a simple drop shoulder construction with a nice neck and a lovely angular back to it. And it'll just have 2 sleeve length options. You can make a shorter sleeve version that would be more suitable for somebody who gets a little warm, or the long sleeve version that will be better for people who tend to run a little cooler like myself, even in the summer months. So Candid is certainly on the horizon. It has a limited number of colorways, and I think if you browse it, you'll be excited to see. If you're intrigued by working with some, please do not hesitate at any point during this podcast or after you're done viewing it to get in touch with us at help@getflock.co.nz, and we will start to get sorted on anything that you may want in. So this color here is Pesh Melba, and I'm really excited to work with it. As I said, I think it's going to make a lovely garment and fulfill a certain gap in my wardrobe that may or may not appear in your wardrobe. I hope that you consider whether or not Candid might be a part of your perfect summer plans. And don't forget that these also make great layering pieces all year round. I certainly get a lot of wear out of my Robinson toile number 3 that I've made. And I think that you'll find these yarns to be a great inclusion into your knitting diet. Now, one of the other yarns that I'm really excited to work with this year is from a favorite brand, the Fiber Company. This guy here is Sero. It is a brushed blend of Surrey alpaca and organic cotton and merino wool. So this has a cotton chain core with a blend of alpaca and organic merino fluff that is brushed out. It's a really, really beautiful product to work with. And this is also a sport weight yarn, and they recommend going all the way up to a 4mm with this guy. I intend to knit a cardigan in this particular yarn. I think it'll suit that really well. A nice light layering piece cardigan with open fronts, and again, a drop shoulder construction so that it's easy to layer under. You can wear lots of different things under that sort of shape. And it's gonna have kind of an exaggerated shoulder, I think, to it. So some extra rows at the shoulder to shape it in a little bit of that compound shaping that I like to push things off and down, and then just to give you a lovely straight band on either side, meant to be worn open, with a button band that's going to be knit separately in the same yarn and sewn on. It's a preference. I love the way that it looks. I'll also write out instructions for how you can pick one up. And overall, I think that this particular yarn is going to make great light layering pieces and great next to skin light pieces. There is certainly already a lot of yarn support out there for this particular lot by the Fiber Company. They are always really great at drafting and creating lots of beautiful patterns and engaging with different designers to craft small mini collections that celebrate the beauty of all of the yarns in their stable. This is definitely part of the Fiber Company expansion and builds on yarns like Luma and Acadia that have found a really good following with all of you already. I can say as well, Amble, the sock yarn, is certainly also a sport weight sort of situation, very suitable for summer. So if you're looking for something to knit that's going to be a smooth version of this particular one, if you don't want fluff, I think Amble is going to end up being the Sorry, Bobo is here if you can't hear him. This is going to end up being the other substitute for that particular pattern, Amble or Sero. So do keep your eyes peeled for that as they start to come out. It'll be quite a while, I'm not going to pretend, but I'm super excited after swatching with this. It was really beautiful to knit with and very comfortable. It's great to be able to work with a single strand of something fluffy on a larger needle, and I certainly haven't regretted that aspect of it. Also, we have some other bulky weight mohair plans for you, but I got some of this quite a while ago, the Big Kid mohair from the wonderful people at Walk Collection. We love Walk Collection, and we're gonna bring in more of their bases, kind of alternating through some bases over time. I was really excited to try some bulky weight mohair after all my other mohair adventures, and I have found that this one is also particularly soft, which I'm really excited about, and it's hand dyed, and this colorway is called Sushi. It has lots of gentle salmon tones and creamy white and flecks of different greens throughout. And I think that's kind of the effect of a salmon roll with nori on the outside, which is quite effective and beautiful. I think that this is going to make a great, simple, you may have already guessed for those playing along at home, it's going to be a bulky weight drop shoulder. This is a pattern I've already been planning for quite a while, and it's gone through a few different iterations, and I think that this is the yarn that I've finally settled on for a bulky weight pullover. I'm definitely in a minimalism phase, although some of the things I have planned after a great creative discussion with a good friend of mine named Libby is certainly going to be a little more adventurous coming towards Christmas. I really enjoy Walk Collection yarn. I think they do a beautiful job dyeing and create really interesting colorways on gorgeous bases. There is also a huge amount of value to commercially dyed bulky weight mohair, and I do think that bulky weight mohair is something that has a great year-round appeal. It's easy to knit, and as a oversized cardigan, possibly with quite a dramatic sleeved cuff situation, it is something that really suits a lot of different things and provides a great lightweight but very, very warm, thick, cozy feeling layer in the evenings. If you're somewhere that gets a little cooler, like here in New Zealand, possibly around Wanaka, or if you're where I'm going in North America, where the lakes just make things a little bit chillier in the evening. Having a nice, snuggly, oversized kind of robe-style lap-fronted cardigan is always a great option for colder evenings when you just want a layer to throw on over top of everything else. I think that bulky weight mohair, offering that balance of quick and easy to knit, but still lightweight and incredibly warm to wear, is a perfect choice for this sort of situation. Now, I can also say that I am excited about two others of these yarns, and one of these is one that I'm very surprised to be excited about, but I'm gonna hold it, I think, along with something else when I work with it. And this is not yarn I would usually consider working with, but it has a very fluid drape and beautiful finish, and it's something I think all of you will be really excited about coming into the warmer seasons. We've carried this before, and I've already swatched from this Tor ball of yarn. It has been through a lot. And this is a ball of Trio 2 by Sero. This is a 50% linen, 30% cotton, and 20% lyocell yarn. It's 50 grams. They do not necessarily specify needle size on the label. This colorway is linen. I knit it on a 3.75 millimeter needle and got a pretty good gauge. And then I decided to hold it with a strand of alpaca 1. And I knit it on a 4.5 millimeter needle. And I actually quite liked that fabric for a kind of saddle shoulder summer top. And I think it just produces a light, fluid, silken feeling fabric without the fuss or added extra of mohair, but a little bit of drape and added softness from the alpaca. It's not meant to be a particularly fitting garment or anything. It's supposed to be quite drapey and drape from that saddle at the shoulder. The sort of construction idea, and I think the things that this really suits, is that beautiful simplicity where you're looking to use a plant-based fiber to give you a fluid elegance to the total fabric where it may enhance things. Designers like Audrey Borrego and others who specialize in kind of beautiful summer cotton and other knits and linen knits are definitely people to look up, and there are a huge amount of patterns from Sero for this. There is also a lace weight version of this blend for those of you who do not want an animal fiber in your lace weight, called Trio 1, and we would certainly be intrigued to bring that in and show you what it can do. So let us know if that's something that you're interested in down below, because we love to hear what people's ideas are. I can say as well, as I've already mentioned about this, but when it comes to Sero, it's always important to go and check out their pattern library and see what they're offering. They have an immense pattern library that takes advantage of all of their different yarns and some combinations that may not occur to you directly. I have yet to be disappointed by the outcomes of following one of their patterns with a recommended yarn, and I think you will really love what they offer as an aesthetic and an interest. And I can admit, as I relatively often do, their method of drafting and writing patterns is sparser in terms of instructions than what you may have otherwise experienced, but it doesn't make it bad. It's just something that you have to get a little bit used to. But once you're knitting, the patterns just fall right off the needles. Don't worry. Finally, coming into summer, I'm really excited by the idea of knitting myself some polos. And realistically, I don't necessarily want winter weight polos. I'm gonna definitely wear these more in the summer, even though they'll possibly have long sleeves. And I thought about what is gonna make a great polo. For me, especially if I'm gonna do it in stockinette, I think Merci by Filcolana is an excellent option. I'm gonna be giving these turned hems and other things like that, knit in plain stockinette, in order to make the most of that kind of aesthetic. I think partially cotton yarns are something that I'm willing to incorporate into my life now. This is 50% Pima cotton and 50% superwash merino. And with a fine size needle, I think we're gonna go down to a 3.25 like I often do, and then most likely a 2.75 for the collar. And I'm going to do a little bit of some tricky stuff, and I'm gonna make the incorporated button bands part of the neckline feature. So I'm excited to show you how to do that without as many seams and still how to make a structurally beautiful garment. And then we'll pick up and make a great collar out of it that is just gonna really set off the total look of the garment. For me, the Filcolana yarns have been something I've really enjoyed working with. And I love the way that the things I knit from them come out. And I'm really glad that I was sitting here talking about this because you may notice that I'm smiling. I've realized well on camera how possibly to do something, which is why my face kind of looks like this, because if I'm right, it will be quite effective possibly, but I'm just not certain at the moment. Sorry. It happens every so often where I have an idea and then I'm not sure which is the right way to do it. So anyway, Merci by Focalana is certainly my plan for a beautiful summer polo. I love the neckline on a polo and the way that these slightly short row shaped sleeve caps are going to set into the way that I'm conceptualizing the idea. It's going to be more of a drop shoulder shape with some short row sleeve cap elements in order to give you a little bit of drop from the top of the cap to the outer edge so that it just will angle downwards slightly from the top of the insertion point. And I think that these yarns suit that really, really well. I know that this is probably shorter than what many of you may have thought, and that is just a small preview of the yarns that I'm planning on working with in the next coming months and the sort of pattern ideas that I'm coming up for with them. All of these yarns have excellent pattern support from lots of different designers, and there are lots of different ways to connect. I'm excited to let you know that we are also planning on bringing in Sandnes yarn, if it hasn't already arrived, from the Norwegian wool mill, and we'll be carrying a selection of their yarns, including line, Tinnaline, Peer Gynt, Tinna Peer Gynt, and Tresco, as well as Ballerina, the bulky weight mohair from them. We're really excited to be partnering with more brands over time and to be growing our selection for all of you. The yarns that we're bringing in over the next while are reflective of the growth that we're seeing in knitting in our communities, and we're very excited to be a part of this process with all of you here, both in this online space on YouTube, which is one aspect of what we do, and also in our other online aspect and spaces such as the Flock Online as well, and almost always in community with you at our store or at events. I'm proud to be saying that we are going to be offering different ways to learn at Get Flocked going forward, and I really cannot wait to engage with you over the next coming months to run knit-alongs that are about building skills in community instead of in class-based learning situations. I think that you're going to find the way that we're going to incorporate learning into the everyday practice of our knitting, a gentle and uplifting way to gain new skills with others. I'm really excited to be launching into an era of knitting focused on each other and focused on making sure that everyone is making the projects of their dreams. The excitement that I now get to feel every single day for watching people cast on things is absolutely wonderful. And I'm really grateful for many people in my local community who have encouraged me to not be as much of a critic and instead to be excited for the joy of what we do as a craft can bring. I would really like to end this set of podcasts while I've been away with a gentle request for all of you. Many, many years ago, there was a man who also wore a cardigan who appeared on many of our television screens. And he was a man who was so wise and understood love so well that he could explain to children how to do it. Over the years, I have seen the beliefs in the way that this man communicated them treated as naive or other things. And I am, of course, talking to you today about Mr. Rogers. Personally, I don't find the way that he lived his life and approached things to be naive. I find it to be an engagement in the hope that we find in one another. Running my yarn shop for the last 2 years has been an roller coaster of life while the world itself has gone through a roller coaster. And I could not be more grateful to the people in my local community and the incredible grace and opportunity that they have shown to me by allowing me to be a part of their lives every week through the knitting group that I run. I want to say that I am particularly honored that I get to share some of the most important moments of life with many people around me. And like Mr. Rogers, I believe very deeply that we are responsible for one another. I'm incredibly impassioned to continue my work every day by the incredible people in my local knitting group who show up week after week, not just to knit and eat pizza in a room together, but to support one another through all of the varieties of what goes on in life, simply because we met and decided that we should spend our time together. The gratitude that I feel for this every day is sometimes hard to communicate in a way that I can express, but I want all of you to understand that these small acts of community together are the bits and pieces of daily life that make improvement over time. I want to encourage all of you, no matter what you're doing in your life, to please consider opening up your heart, possibly your home, and maybe an evening of your life to other people in your local community for any sort of way to get together. What you will get back out of that is exponentially greater than any amount of time or energy that you put into it. And the incredible value of sharing in the lives of those around us who we may otherwise consider strangers is something that I can't express without you doing it. And I think that once you do it, you will feel better. I will be honest, in this age of Netflix and endless availability of information, I find myself more bored than anything. And I realized over time that it's because I crave connection, as we all do, with other people. And I, through a variety of circumstances, became the custodian again of my Wednesday night knit group. And their steady presence in my life and the differences between us and the variety of diversity of opinions and things that I have, and knowledges that I have access to through them as a community that I wouldn't have if we weren't united by this common cause of knitting, is a blessing in my daily life, both as someone who owns a yarn store, someone who leads a community, and as a person who walks on this earth with others every single day. Sometimes it can feel really overwhelming out there in the world for a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. Elizabeth Zimmerman was very, very right when she said that knitting properly practiced soothes the troubled mind and soul. And Mr. Rogers was very right when he invited us to care for the people around us in our neighborhood. And I want to invite you to care for the people around you. Again, I am humbled and grateful by the experience that I get to have sharing the lives of all of the people who come and spend their time together in my shop. And I know that the stories that they have and the lives that I witness are the stuff of magic every single day. Knitting brings us together and binds us into communities stitch by stitch. It is made up of individual choices over time. And the fabric of community and the fabric of knitting have an immense amount in common. I get to see both of those fabrics crafted anew every day out of literally nothing, essentially. Sticks and strings in a room full of chairs, when held in the hearts and hands of people who care, become instruments that make our world better. I want to ask you, again, I'm doing it, to join me in making our world better. I love all of you, and I'll see you when I'm back. Bye-bye.